This new computer technology, I swear. I think what back in the 80s they said it would never catch on, right? Okay. All right. Cool. I think we have two more here. Why isn't the waiting room? It should be admitting everyone. Okay. Let's wait for those other two to be admitted here, and then we'll get things started. Okay. It's weird. It says they're joining, but they're just not joining our room here. Okay, well, I'm sure Zoom's going to catch up. Awesome. Okay, cool. And we are streaming over there. We're good there, and we're good. All right, guys. So, welcome back to our Coherence Meditation this Tuesday, October 1st. And I was just thinking, when does daylight savings time end? Because you've been 3 hours ahead of me here in Phoenix for the longest time, but I guess we don't have to worry about that until November 3rd. So I put a note in here to remind everyone on 3rd that
Late, huh?
just so I don't miss it too, because I'm only going to be 2 hours behind you then.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you very much for joining. We hold these coherence meditations every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, and currently Phoenix time, 3 p.m. Pacific, or 3 p.m. Phoenix time, and then 2 p.m. Pacific. Or, well, no, that's going to be, no, that is the same.
Close.
Phoenix and San Fran. Geez. Arizona, we don't change times here, but oh well. Anyway, I digress.
Well,
Anyway,
it is fascinating. You got to admit, it's definitely
yeah.
fascinating.
You know what? I don't have the QR codes up here. There we go. Okay, so for anybody that is new here, we hold these every Tuesday. Our main YouTube channel is over the Cosmic Gaia Community channel. We hold these live on Zoom, and you are more than happy and more than welcome, rather, to join us over here on Zoom. You can find that link right over here. Just feel free to click that QR code. Over here is our YouTube channel, Cosmic Gaia Community. You can find all of our recordings over there as well. And we actually had a nice recording last week, a doubleheader. I'll give you that title in just a moment. So as I said, we do hold these over here on Zoom Live. Doesn't mean you need to show your video or anything, but we'd love to have you participate over here. Please do subscribe, share, and definitely share this out to any friends and families you think that can benefit from this. A format of our coherence meditations. We're trying to keep these a little bit more minimal from, I guess, well, we have been trying to, but we'll try to stick to it, right? We'll try to stick to maybe like a half hour or so for each coherence meditation. And we do encourage everyone to do this as a daily practice. Take a little time out each day. And let's see, last week's title, as I said, we had a double header. We had Get in Coherence with Your Quantum Side, and we had Lisa Schermerhorn, which is also a healer that joined us last week. She held I think, two events actually last Friday. So feel free to go back and watch that recording. You can also find her link over in the recording from last week. And then the title for this week is Transforming Mental Illness into Mental Stability and Emotional Intelligence. Wow, that's a handful there. So if you do have a particular topic in mind, feel free to contact Seth or just comment down below and we'll try to get that into our queue. And Lisa is on Grandpa Bill's podcast tomorrow. Thank you, Bill. I actually would like to get that link and I'd like to attend. So that's tomorrow, Wednesday for me. So yeah. Anyway, guys, get some water, get comfortable, relax, and let's get this rolling. So, Seth, off to you, buddy.
Thank you, Greg. As always, thank you everybody for coming. And it's funny when you're saying about keeping it shorter, the live events, I always have somebody tap me on the shoulder or do something because I get into it and it keeps going and time doesn't exist. And then the last one we just did, I think I like hour and 45 minutes and I wasn't done. There's still so much more, but I just happened to open my eyes and I saw the clock. I was like, whoa, okay. So I don't know if there's a way somebody can tap me on the shoulder or if you can do it, that'd be great.
Time does not exist.
That's right. Lots of
There.
things don't exist except for the overlays, meaning nothing can be even pre-existent, but if we think it over and over and over, just like we do with language, we keep thinking about it. We keep creating physical vibratory tone out of our body to give sound and meaning to the word. And we keep doing that. We create something out of nothing. And this is most of what human beings in these bodies, this is how we're used to interacting with ourselves, our issues, with each other, with the world. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it is so small compared to what each and every one of us already is. And if we knew, even if we just had like a quantum split second of insight, or to have this full experience of what we truly are for a second, we would reconsider everything. We would slow down, we would relax, and then we'd start getting in tune with what's really going on, because we are each unbridled power, but that is caged up. It's in a prison of, basically a self-imposed prison of awareness that we created and we didn't even realize it. So now we're going to create freedom, and we're going to create getting out of our way so that we can begin to function in a more holistic expression of what we are, this unbridled power. Because when we do that and we get good at it and we sustain it, which is really just a simple state of heart and brain coherence, that you get so good at sustaining that suddenly all the other organs and glands get into coherence. Before you know it, your whole body is in coherence with itself, and you're smiling and you're feeling it, and it feels like being a little kid again. And when you feel it and you know that that is normal, it's actually what is normal, not stress and mental and emotional illness that we all get trapped in. When we get back to what is actually normal, then we naturally sustain it. And when things come up that stress us out, we don't take the bait anymore. We realize that that's an old, we just buy into all these projections of our own perception of how we react and respond to the world, how others treat us. So much of this is so routine created habits that, without even knowing it, they keep us in a very narrow, limited point of view of what we are. So let's relax wherever you are. Just completely relax your whole body. You can start at the top of your head, or you can just relax your entire body at once. The main thing is to just get so relaxed that you begin to feel little micro tensions in your body. Little places where you don't really normally know that there's tension or resistance in it until you get so relaxed that you start to feel it. And when you are relaxed, and at the same time, when your awareness is bright and aware, then you can feel these little micro tensions inside of you. And when you sense them or feel them, then you know they're there, and you can relax them even more. And even if you just keep doing this, you just keep being so relaxed everywhere in your body that you sense these micro tensions, and then you relax into them, meaning your body's so calm, you feel the tension, and the calmness or the coherence of your body dissolves these little bits of micro tension. And it's not just physical pain or holding on to something too tight. It can be thoughts that we think about repetitively, fears. It can be emotional states that we get stuck into thinking and feeling that it just becomes so normal. Just like in our shoulders, where our shoulders and our spine meet, that cross or that T is where so many of us hold on to so much tension. And when we know that, we can begin to relax it even more. And as you go through this process, then you can get to a point where your body is so relaxed and your awareness is so bright that the life force energy that's there, this invisible field of super genius intelligence, innate intelligence that is energy based. It is bioelectromagnetic. It is literally lightning and magnetic forces, and even way beyond that. And that's what we are. And it's not just there doing nothing, it is operating these bodies. And like we talk about, whether you're sleeping at night in your bed or you're up walking around during the day, this energy is doing its job. It is allowing you to be in this body. And when we're children, we're so excited. There's so much awe and mystery. But then as we grow up, things happen. We get stressed out. We get traumatized. And the same thing happens to most of the people around us. And so if we're in a depressed or anxiety ridden or stressed out state of being, and most of the people around us are too, and not just family, strangers, people who live on other continents, we mostly at this point in especially the Western civilized worlds, there is an addiction to stress. And it's become so normalized that most don't even question it. And even more than that, their entire identity, their entire sense of self becomes enveloped in this really narrow view of self-awareness. And we get stuck in these loops mental and emotional loops that we hang on to and that everybody else around us hangs on to. And again, each and every one of us is comprised 100%, 111%. Each and every one of us are this innate intelligence that is animating these bodies. It is literally a miraculous source of energy that there's no way to give it a name. Or if we do give it a name or call it something, it's so small compared to what it actually is. Because again, it knows how to operate these bodies, just like it knows how to operate galaxies, universes, just like it knows how to operate microclimates, mountainous areas with many different types of microenvironments. Can be ice cold to jungle, all on one mountain range. And so we all are this. But in a world that has normalized stress, we pretty much seem like we're the last ones to know that. And because everybody has normalized stress or limitation, then nobody wants to go outside of that, because we literally create an overlay of focused states of being that we regulate every day, every hour. We regulate it through our thoughts, beliefs, our behaviors, our actions are all tied in to this very limited state of awareness that is taking this miracle and essentially locking it up and throwing away the key so that this brilliance that we each and all are doesn't really get a chance to express itself. It gets so penned up, so stuck. And deep down, we know that there's something greater happening. But many who seek it out or try to figure out what it is that's actually greater, a lot of individuals will look for this everywhere external to them, and they don't even look to where it's actually originating from. This consciousness, the sense of self that we are, is emanating from this already beyond genius, intelligence that is our body. This energy that regulates all the systems of our body, whether we're regulating it or not. And when we're up and about and we're so focused on who we think we are and all our problems, and maybe indulging a little bit in something that we love or like to do, but it's so fleeting. And we take the most beautiful, powerful source of energy or thing there ever could be. And we just siphon all of its power into these very microcurrents of incessantly identifying with these stress loop patterns. And because we've done it our whole lives, because everybody around us is doing it, we have created a situation where, think about it, if you're to take a bunch of lions or gorillas or whatever, any kind of animal that's really active, you take a community of those animals and you put them into a zoo, into a cage, you just keep them in there, they begin to lose touch with that natural life force in them, that instinct that not only knows how to survive, but when these animals are at their best, they are thriving. They are so in tune with this life force that is in their bodies that they don't even need to question anything. When it's time to take action, they take action. But when they're locked up in a cage, suddenly that life force, that ability to be in a flow state, to do what they know how to do, begins to weaken. And so these forces of nature begin to lose their power, their connection to life itself. And if they stay in these states, you can literally see the life force dim in their eyes. Here they are, this majestic creature that is just so incredibly powerful. It begins to lose that. And it's very similar with us, except for that we aren't like those animals. In many ways, we all have something in us that is so advanced that there's very few examples in our race, in our species, that can remind us who and what we have the potential to be. And when we don't know that, we begin to get mentally and emotionally bogged down. And if we keep staying in that state of decay, where this beautiful light force that in all of us, not only is it there, but it's offering us the opportunity to self-reflect on its very nature, to know deep down the source of what it is that we all actually are. And all of this limitation, when sustained, which is what happens in our world, whether we're aware of it or not, We create and perpetuate states of suffering. It's not enough that we've lost touch with our purpose and our life force. We get stuck in patterns that not only do they make us ill, but it's so obvious the effect that each and every one of us has individually and then together on how we affect the world. So we have these beautiful, majestic beings that not only are comprised of this profound innate intelligence, but we don't have a knowing of that in our day-to-day, moment-to-moment life. And so we get stuck in decay and we project that out to the world. And it's obvious what that's doing. Nature around us is being disrupted. But in all of this is an opportunity, probably unlike any that our species has had that any of us know about. And of course, history is flawed at best. But for so long, we have lived in these limited states of being. And now we're creating imbalance in our bodies, in our states of being, and in this world. And when it gets too unbalanced, this is where the opportunity comes in, because it's not sustainable to stay stuck in your own pathologies, in your own inability to move beyond the things that you have habituated most focusing on: who you think you are, what you do in your life, what kind of car you drive, or if you walk. All the things that we do every day end up becoming the things that we focus the bulk of our attention on. And when you have billions of people doing that, it's not sustainable, but it's also where we have the ability to recognize that these self-imposed limitations aren't going to cut it anymore. And so we feel the imbalance, we see it around us, and it's simple enough to make sense of it in your own mind that something way greater is happening, not only to all of us, but in all of us. I mean, imagine if you were so conscious that you were literally almost like a holographic overlay over and at the same time within your body, where you were able to observe how all of this bioelectromagnetic frequency that is being filtered to all the different systems of your body. Imagine if you could experience all of that as it's happening and know yourself as what you truly are, more than who you think you are. And when you look at it in that way, it's really not that much to ask for. We already know that something beyond intelligent is happening in our bodies, but we focus on everything external to us and hardly give any of that attention to what's happening in us. But when we do, suddenly you're in your body and you put that little inner smile on your mouth or in your mouth or on your face. It could be a huge smile if you want. When you get into these sustained flow states where your heart and your brain begin to synchronize, when all the systems of your body begin to synchronize to your heart and brain being synchronized, and you are conscious and you sense and feel and know yourself in this way to be present with what we all truly are. And imagine if you just spent 2 minutes or a minute being that aware of all that's happening inside of you. And again, it's not much to ask for. And there's actually not much preventing us from being able to do that. And so we know it's that simple. But at the same time, all of this normalization of stress that creates mental and emotional illness in us and in many around us. When we begin to become aware of how powerful we actually are, that's when we begin to have this effect where we're so aware of our body that all of our pathologies, our thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, actions, the life force current that is pulsing through our body, when we become aware of it and we focus on it and we sustain that focus, then any blockages in our body, any micro tensions that we don't even know we've been creating, all of that begins to go away because the power of what we are becomes so much more powerful when we focus our attention on it. In fact, when we make a habit of focusing on it, we amplify its power within us, around us, to degrees that don't have any limitations at all. And it's time for us to begin to know ourselves as this because we already are. This is already happening. And we can see that the way of doing things in the world with these systems, with all these belief systems, it's obvious that it's not sustainable. And not only that, but the quality of life of this infinite, miraculous life force that is concentrating and animating each and every one of us It wants to be free. And so when you make this habit of returning to what you already are, then all of the normalization that brought us into these limited states of mental and emotional blockages, as that begins to clear up, then we get a ping or a ding or a flash, or something happens when we realize that because we chose to be conscious of what is already happening, and then a revelation or an epiphany or something comes out of that because we focused on it, that begins to happen a lot more regularly. And all of your self-worth issues, all of the mental and emotional illness that we don't even realize we're hanging on to, it could disappear in a second, literally. But for whatever reason, right now, we're being called to do this work, to, as an individual, as this person you are, making a choice to create internal elevated states of being, and to get so familiar with it that we begin to sustain it. And then our life starts to feel a lot better. Our quality of life becomes enhanced. And when this starts to happen, how many of us is it going to take before that 100th monkey effect kicks in, where enough of us as the individuals made the choice to create new patterns of thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, and actions to the degree that we have normalized that. And that naturally detoxes all of those old neural networks and pathways that we created, not even realizing it. And that stuff just starts to go away, because how can it live, or how can it exist or sustain in the body of a being that is conscious of its own nature to the degree that we are amplifying that within us? It goes away because it wasn't meant to stay. But rather than thinking we need to override it, it's really doing the opposite. It's knowing that you can get into a state of sustained internal coherence that you're the observer of. But as these old patterns start to feel the effects of somebody who's choosing to sustain an elevated state of being, of course it's going to protest. It doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to be pushed out of what it's been latched onto for this long. And that is perfect, because we can feel this, as hard as it is to feel. When you are in a state of sustained coherence, like happy children, and you face all these old skeletons in the closet, these fears, you can feel it and face it with so much more self-confidence, knowing that it isn't something to get rid of, more than it is something that is offering us the opportunity to resolve, to know the nature of, to feel its effects as fully as they can be, knowing that they're on their way out. Whereas normally in this normalized world of stress, we hang on to all of that stuff. Something happens, we get stuck or traumatized or stressed out, and we hang on to it. And almost everybody around us does. And that idea of normalized stress, it's on its way out because there's enough of us that are creating enough self confidence by consciously interacting and creating a relationship to the source of this consciousness that is already happening to us, through us, within us, and we are choosing to be more aware of it through our relaxed body, through our bright awareness, through our breathing that is slower, deeper, and more gentle, and through that little inner smile that, again, like we always discuss here in these calls, that inner smile is you choosing to immediately alter your body chemistry out of these depressed, anxiety ridden, stressed out states of being into the beginnings of feeling that you can literally, by choice alone, change your body chemistry instantly. And it's that simple. And when enough of us do that and get good at sustaining it personally, then we know who each other is. There is no more competition. There's no more games of trying to achieve things in this world that are really so unnecessary compared to the true value of a high quality life. And how many of us does it take choosing to do this so that it's easier for the masses or others to just turn it right on because enough of us are doing the work personally and for each other, for our communities, for our species, for all species. When we get in tune with the natural rhythms of these bodies, we begin to experience that these bodies are actually already in tune with the natural universe around us. And the more we become conscious of that and sustain that awareness of self-knowing, barriers can't live in an environment like that. These normalized stressful limitations, they can't live in that because this is the force of life. It creates life. It can destroy life. But when we are in tune with it and we respect it and have reverence for it and admire it, that's how we become what we know we have the potential to be. And all of those mental and emotional problems just begin to go away because we're facing it all. So before we come into a more waking state, let's just set a little reminder that a calm body with bright awareness, with breathing that's slower and deeper and more full, and that little inner smile that you can feel it in your heart, feeling happy or uplifted. You can feel it in your entire body. And the more we habituate that and sustain it, then we begin to come right back into tune with what it's like to be unlimited, to know ourselves as this natural force of nature without limitations that can evolve at the quantum speed of reality. It's that simple. And that's why, if you resonate with this and our community, comment, share, do all that stuff so that we can get as many individuals doing this regularly, and to have and provide support for one another, because this is how we not only take our power back, but learn about what we can do with all this power when we're operating it with respect, reverence. We are this miracle, and we come into this world and we still are it. When we leave it, this energy is the only thing that comes with us. But what happens if we become fully awake of its presence that's already in us, but that we become conscious of it in its entirety in our body? Do we really die? How does that energy, that intelligence, how does it die? It transforms. And when we're conscious of that, we're able to be active participants in co-creating the outcome, that we are in alignment with our source, and that we're helping to influence with what we're being influenced by, this miraculous life force. So keep all this in your heart and in your mind. And really quick, I want to say a prayer for everybody in the Southeast US who've been hit with these floods and the hurricane, and for everybody in this world that is suffering or going through dark nights of the soul or ego or whatever it is, all the mental and emotional illness that is hitting a tipping point. And we all sense that. We can see it, we can feel it, it is happening, and we are here ready to face this with full transparency, with honesty, and we're allowed to be afraid. And we're allowed to let all of this old stuff come up to heal. And just like all the people in the Southeast who are experiencing the aftermath of all these natural elements that are in a state of chaos, whether it's naturally induced or if it's human or machine induced, it doesn't matter. Chaos is chaos. And when we get stuck in it without being connected to coherence, both in our being and in the natural world around us, we can get lost. So everybody who's going through that, to the towns that are underwater, to all the souls, human and every other species that have perished as a result of this. May you heal. May you be imbued with a greater appreciation for the power of nature and to learn to actually trust it more than we fear it. And so may everybody who's struggling as a result of all of that, and for everybody that is struggling globally with mental and emotional despair or imbalance, let's envision and let's feel what it would be like for all of that to come back into balance, into coherence, which is the primary element of reality. Chaos exists, it needs to, but coherence is the primary force for us here. We just forgot, and now we're remembering. So if you want to stay in this state, you can hang up. And if you want to come to a more waking state, you can either rub your hands together really vigorously to get them hot. You can put the palms of your hands over your eyes and notice any sensations or anything, lights, any visual. And you can gently tap with your fingers from top of your forehead down throughout your face. And doing this regularly is so important and so beneficial because when we relax our face, when we massage it, when we tap on it, every system of our body has points in our face. And when we intentionally take care of that, we are applying self-love. So thank you, everybody, coming out tonight. Again, please share, like, love, tag, any other ideas of things you'd love for us to focus on. Let's engage with each other. Let's create this community of potential. I know everybody knows it's possible, so we just got to keep going and make it manifest, make it real, because it already is. We're just being aware of it. Greg, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Seth, for that reprogramming lesson, as usual. And guys, we didn't forget about this right here.
Oh, yes.
So
No,
we're still
we're
working
making
on that.
videos of it, actually. I'm glad you brought that
Okay.
up.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
And actually, as another thing, how's the EE system going? Are you to capacity right now?
So pretty much, but it's wild. I mean, I'm still like, because again, it just happened. I had no idea that that place existed. I didn't know any of that was going on. And so I just went in thinking, because I was told that they're charging the spring water there. And Tam, the owner, we just connected. I see people coming out of the room, like huge smiles, they're glowing. I'm like, all right, well, let's find out what happens when we meditate. Or, you know what? These aren't even really meditations, they're coherence sessions. They have elements of meditation in it,
Mhm.
but I'm thinking of new things to call it. So if
So this
anybody has
so
any
this past
ideas,
weekend, then that'll session number two, right?
this,
Are you at capacity yet?
it's hard to say. A lot of people want to come, but not everybody has confirmed. So if people do want to come and you happen to be in Maine and you want to do it, it's worth it.
Cool.
And
Cool.
if
Yeah, I
not,
just
don't
wanted to
worry.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
put that out there, let everybody know about that. And
Thank
also, I
you.
forgot to mention also grab Seth's free book, I'm awake now what.com. It's free. We're yeah, guess what? You're trying to put a million book offerings, everywhere. So
Yeah.
people should actually grab that. It's free.
Thank
And
you.
it's only $7 for a hardcover.
Yeah.
And I think that was pretty much it. Those two reminders, and we're good. So everyone, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.